We just went on our first little bit longer RV trip. It was 3.5 weeks.
Yes.
And as newbie RVers, we didn't realize how much there actually is to learn.
So we thought we'd share with you some of the things we learned on our first longer RV trip.
Yep.
And Leo wants to say hello. Say hello.
Tiny house prepper.
Live simple, live free.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper.
And like I said, we went on our first trip, 3.5 weeks, and we absolutely loved it.
Yes.
We left here from our home in the Northeast, and what did we do?
Well, we went to my mom's memorial service in Missouri. Saw a bunch of family, stayed at a beautiful ranch there. Went from there down to Branson, which was really enjoyable.
Stayed there for 5 days.
Yep. And went down to Oklahoma and visited with his sister.
Yep.
And from there went to our son's house and got to hang out with
No,
them
you
for...
forgot something.
Oh, yes, my goodness. Between going to see his sister and going to see our son, we went to the Ark Encounter,
Right.
which was really cool.
Then we went to see our son, Barry. And
Yep, spent about a week there, and then we came home.
Yep. So it was a fabulous trip, but we definitely learned a lot of things.
Sure, we sure
So-
did. So did Leo. Yes.
Yeah.
By the end, he literally would just enjoy looking around. He was hanging in there pretty well. Very comfortable in the RV, too. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was good.
So what did we learn? Well, first of all, get a GPS.
Yeah, don't just rely on the phone.
Yeah, we had the GPS in the phone, and when we got to Kincaid Lake State Park in Kentucky, we had a problem because it was so rural that there was very, very little phone service, and we had just enough phone service for the GPS to get us there, but then when we were starting to leave, there wasn't enough phone service for it to find us and plot a new route. And we had our, road atlas, Rand McNally Road Atlas, but of course it doesn't show all those tiny little roads.
Yeah, you just about have to have county maps to get those little tiny
Yeah.
roads.
So we just had to start driving and hoping we were going in the right direction until all of a sudden the cell phone picked up enough signal
Yeah.
to find our way again. So
Bill's real good at north, south, east, and west, so he just kind of followed the nose of the truck in the right direction.
right. So, if we get a freestanding GPS like a Garmin or something else like that, it doesn't use cell signal. It just has to have 3 satellites, and then it'll get us there. So I used to have one when I was a truck driver. That was not part of my phone, and it worked real well. So we're going to get a GPS.
Yeah.
We also learned a lot about many of the different apps that they have. RVing is a totally different thing from what it was 10 years ago just because of these apps. You can get
Yes.
them on your phone. There's all kinds of information about places to stay, places to eat, dump stations, everything you need to know about or for an RV experience. So I just thought I'd just run through a couple of them. Park Advisor, Campendium, iOverlander. It's a small I and then Overlander. That seems to be better in Canada than the U.S., but it works in the U.S. as well. Truck Path is something that I just learned about. We only use it a couple times, but it's pretty cool. It'll show, for instance, a rest area up ahead on the interstate, and if you look there, it'll tell you, a trucker was there just 2 hours ago, and he said, there's still 6 places left, or he says,
That's
they're all
handy.
full. So you know ahead of time with pretty much real-time information from from truckers who are telling you that. So that's Truck Path.
Right, that's neat. That way you know if there's any spaces left or anything. Yep.
Public lands, that basically shows BLM land out west and sort of that. We didn't use that. Dump station, there's a couple of them that show just dump stations, and that can be really handy.
Yes.
And then freecampsites.net, that's not an app, it's a website, but it also is very helpful for finding free campsites. But I found that out of all these different ones that I had, the one that I used the most often, my go-to one, seemed to be Park Advisor. It seemed to have the most information, it seemed to be the easiest to maneuver. One thing that we liked is that it had all of the Walmarts listed,
Yeah.
and it had reviews of people who'd stayed there and whether it was allowed or not. It had the phone number for the Walmart so you could call ahead and find out whether they allowed it. There's a big deal about whether Walmarts allow overnight parking anymore. Well, some of them don't, but most of them do still.
And they're real nice about it.
Right, and Park Advisor has all the Walmarts listed and all the phone numbers so you can call ahead and find out. So it was really helpful. So those are some of the apps that we have played around with, and I'm sure there are more. But anyway, so that's a start, and we really liked Park Advisor. And speaking of Walmart,
Yeah.
what did we discover about Walmart?
We really appreciate and like Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard other RVers say that they only go to Walmart as a very last ditch, thing if they simply can't find anything else. But, well, we didn't go into the Walmart near cities. It was all rural Walmarts that
Right.
we went to. But we found them very friendly, very easy to use. You can drive in there at midnight and set up, and you're not, bothering the other campers or bothering the camp host or any of that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, about all they usually would request, because we tried to politely always ask ahead. I'd call ahead while Bill was driving, and please park up way on the side or in the back, and they were really nice about it. So, and we'd have like this little teeny community of little RVs and a few trucks, and
right,
yeah,
right. So we found Walmart to be very helpful and free.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and the best thing about Walmart was it was free. So, okay, going a little bit deeper into our experience, what we discovered is that it's really sometimes difficult to avoid. Well, let me back up a little bit. We watch another channel called Less Junk, More Journey.
We love them. Less Junk, More Journey.
Yeah,
They're wonderful.
Nathan and Marissa. I'm sure many of you are familiar with them, but they talk about something called the vacation mentality. And they're absolutely right. We had to learn how to avoid the vacation mentality.
If you're going to be gone for a while.
Yeah, so what is that? When you go on vacation, you only have 2 weeks or you only have a week or whatever, and so you feel like you got to do everything. When you go into a town, you got to experience everything that's there. And so you just go from the beginning to end. When you get home, you just die of exhaustion, and you can't wait to get back to work just so you can rest.
Leo's sharing fur, by the way.
And the other thing is that if you're on vacation and if you drive or if you fly and then rent a car or whatever, you're pretty much forced into eating every meal out. And that can get really expensive.
Quickly. Yeah.
Very quickly. So, as part of the vacation mentality, it's so easy to just go out to dinner to eat in the evening. Because that's what you do on vacation, right?
Well, and especially after a long day of traveling,
Right.
something like that. That was easy and convenient and good and easy.
And I think we were like halfway through the week in Branson before we realized, we have a kitchen here. All we have to do is go to the grocery store and buy food, and we can save a whole lot of money by cooking our own meals.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was something that we learned, but we can do it a lot better.
Yeah.
We have to get out of that vacation mentality, and we live in this RV now, so we have to think like that.
Yeah.
And just buy groceries and cook our own meals. But one thing that we did that was actually good was we started to pull over for lunch instead of going to a fast food place or something and spending too much money and getting food that's not good for us.
Yeah, we really consistently did do that for lunch.
We'd pull into a rest area or a parking lot of a truck stop or something like that and go back into the trailer and make lunch. It was so cool. We could just actually cook on the stove, and I could clean the dishes in the sink, and then we sat there at the table and ate. It was really neat.
Yeah, we enjoyed that.
And then we could take, Leo back with us so he'd have time to stretch in the trailer and use the cat box and get water and all those sorts of things.
Well, and if we stopped at a restaurant, we always put him in the RV because it was cool in there.
Right.
And he could do that, but he loved having the time hanging out in the RV with us, and it gave him a chance to chill for a little bit and get a bite to eat.
Right. So that's one thing that we did pretty well was lunches on
Yeah.
the road in the RV.
They were actually very enjoyable.
Yep. And so for us in the RV, we didn't do very well with avoiding the vacation mentality, especially like in Branson. We went to a show every night, $120 show every night.
Well, the thing of it is that I don't feel too bad about that. We had planned on it.
Right.
We knew that we were going to be doing that, but we couldn't do that for 3.5 weeks or almost a month. The 3 days we were in Branson, we drove one day, we were there for 3 days, and we drove a day. During that time, we did try to really take advantage of enjoying the place. And that we could not have maintained that kind of spending for the entire trip. It would have been, we just couldn't do it.
Well, and there's another thing too. Yes, it costs a lot when you do that sort of thing. But it's also wearing on the body, especially at our age.
Yeah, it's more than
think
just
about our
the
trip.
cost.
We had something planned every single day. We were either driving or we were going to some kind of an attraction or something was planned every single day.
Yep.
And after 3.5 weeks of that, I was tired.
Yeah, I loved it and enjoyed it, but yeah, we discovered that we had left ourselves with very little downtime.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and you know, there was still work that had to be done too. That we
Right.
had
I'll
to
get
be
into
sure
that
to
in
get
a
done.
minute. But
Right.
yes, absolutely. So I think what we've learned is, well, we already learned to take it slower because we used to drive 18 hours a day until we got there. And on this trip, we very rarely drove more than 5 hours a day. And that helped a lot. But even beyond that, I think we've learned to plan in a day or two of rest, or just plan to go someplace for a week and don't plan anything and just relax and just see what comes along.
It was kind of like that at our son's house.
Yeah.
A little bit more so. Although we still, you know, tried to do different things, but it was a little more mellow there.
Yeah. Well, of
Yeah.
course, we used to live there too, a long time ago. So there's no like big attractions that we wanted to see because we
Oh,
used to live
sure.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
So now along those same lines, she was saying that we had to work too, and that's true. So many of you said, you know, you were so glad to see that we were enjoying our vacation, and we really were enjoying our trip, but it wasn't a vacation.
Just like people always say, it's so great that you guys are retired.
Yeah, we're not retired.
No.
I still have to work.
Yeah.
You know, we still have to do videos, and filming and editing a video is a lot of hard work. It's not physical work, but it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of hours. I also have to answer a lot of phone calls for, you know, Thrive customers and that sort of thing. And I still did that while I was on the road. I am so fortunate to have a job where I can work it from the road as long as I have cell phone service.
Yes.
And we use a cell phone to upload, you know, on our hotspot. But I still had to do that. But what I discovered was that I had a hard time keeping up. You know, there were some phone calls that I was getting, people with questions about Thrive products, and it took me a while to get back to them. If you were one of them, I'm sorry about that. It took us a long time to catch up with editing the videos because we just planned too much.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you know, there's always this balance that's really not easy to find between, you know, making sure we're still living our lives
right.
and, you know, filming things that we think someone could be interested in and keeping up with stuff just to keep business healthy and going. It's hard to know how to even find downtime sometimes. And you have to really, we're learning, we're going to have to plan in the space that needs to be there for work, but then plan in some space to breathe, you know,
Right.
and to have some downtime.
Right.
And it's not always really easy to do that. Sometimes the funnest things we're doing are when we definitely should be filming the most.
Right.
You know, and I think any YouTuber that's been doing it for a while deals with that. Absolutely. But when you're on a long trip like that in the RV, you know, keeping up with the everyday stuff that you still have to do. I still had to take care of some things for Bill's dad. I did it by phone, but it was fine. And just balancing all of that, you know, over an extended period of time takes conscious, proactive effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, another thing that I learned, how to unclog a black tank.
Oh yeah, we learned a lot about what we didn't know before.
Oh my, I did a video about that, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But yeah, we were in Branson and we were about ready to leave Branson, and I pulled the, you know, the thing to drain the tank, and it wouldn't drain. Neither one of them would drain, the gray or the black. They were both clogged. The two pipes come into one, and it was clogged right there. So I learned how to take care of a clog early on, you know. And not long ago, I got a comment from somebody who saw that video, and they said, "Thank you so much." They said, "We've been RVers for 20 years, and we've never had that problem. And we just had the problem. Our tanks are clogged, and we just saw your video. So thank you very much." So there you go. I guess we learned early.
Right. Yeah, we just learned so many things about how you take care of all of it on the road and how all the mechanics of everything really works.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And this is interesting because it's a kind of a tiny house thing, and we were still living in a very small space.
yeah,
You know, and I loved it. It was really neat. But when you're traveling like that, especially if you're only going to be somewhere for a day or two, and then you got to move on again, you have to keep everything orderly. Mm-hmm. You can't let stuff get cluttered up. You have to make sure that stuff gets put away, and so that you are able to just keep moving along really easily. And so it had some real tiny house stuff to it to me. Of
Right.
just staying organized, staying on top of things.
The more cluttered we let it get, the more time it took us to stow things for travel.
Right, and we were picking up some mementos, and I had stuff that I had to deal with from the final things that my mom had that we were trying to distribute, and so keeping everything, having a place for things, and keeping it in order. You know, we have to do it in this tiny little place, and we certainly have to do the same if you're traveling in an RV.
Right.
Just to make sure that you don't get overwhelmed and that you can get going quickly with everything safely stowed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just another factor, and it's a tiny house thing.
Right.
You know, tiny house on the road.
Yep. So probably the last thing that we learned is that we absolutely love it.
Yes, yes.
And we had been talking about spending time on the road, but this just sort of solidified our decision that as we have opportunity, we really want to start spending a lot more time on the road. We're talking months at a time.
It just all depends on how his dad is doing.
Right.
He seemed to be fine with us being gone just for this period of time. I checked on him. I had people that could watch to see if he was okay, and he seemed fine. But I think that was about the maximum time at this point that we would be able to spend away. And it's just too hard on him. He can't handle traveling like that. We take him with us.
Right.
But he really can't handle it. He just turned 88.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, but eventually we're hoping to spend 2 or 3 months at a time on the road.
Absolutely.
And so with that in mind, we really thought about it, and we realized that this trailer that we have is great. We absolutely love it. But if we're going to be spending a lot of time on the road, we need a bigger trailer.
Well, the main factor.
Well, so let's tell them what we did. So we
Okay.
got home from the trip on Friday evening, and what did we do on Saturday?
Well, we bought another RV.
We bought another travel trailer.
Yes, we did. Now, you know, we've had money we've been saving very carefully.
Yeah, so the one that we have now, or that we had, is a 21-foot hybrid. The beds fold out. The new one that we bought, it's older, but it's a 30-footer, and it's not a hybrid. It's a regular hard shell travel trailer.
Yes. And shall we tell them what we did today?
Sure.
Today we sold our first one,
Yep. Today we sold the hybrid.
and
So-
and to this really sweet man, a widower with 2 little boys, and
They were all so excited.
so excited,
Yep.
and they are going to have more fun with that little trailer. And they seemed very thrilled, very happy with it. I think that it all worked out for everybody very, very well. So yeah, we bought the new one and sold the old one,
Yeah.
and here we are. The new one has an actual little bedroom. And if we do try to take Bill's dad with us, or maybe grandkids or something, family, it's got like a bunk, 2 bunks,
Yeah, bunks
in the back.
Yep. So it's better for sleeping for more people if we take some family along with us and that sort of thing. So I'll show you some pictures right here, just of the outside of the thing. You see that's quite a bit longer than our other one was.
I have some good pictures of the inside too, if you
Yeah,
want.
well, probably in an upcoming video soon here. We'll actually do a real tour and let
Yeah.
you see what it's all about. But here's what I discovered, okay?
And you have to understand, we did great, but we were in huge rainstorms,
Yeah.
tornado warnings, and
So here's what I discovered. There's some things that the hybrid does really exceptionally well.
Yes.
One of them is that because the beds fold in, it makes the whole thing much shorter, and you still have what you need. It's only 21 feet, so it was easy to pull. It was easy to get in and out of tight spots. It was relatively easier to pull into a tight gas station and get gas and that sort of thing.
Yes.
And then when you parked and you opened up the beds, you didn't have to have floor space for the beds or have something that doubled as, you know, a bunk and a bed. You just opened up the beds and they were there. And so
And then the slide would go out, and it was nice.
yeah, so it was really exceptional for that. And if we were gonna keep it to just do, you know, occasional 4-day weekends or an occasional 1 week or even 2-week trip, it would be great. We would have kept it. But we are talking about doing considerably more extensive
Yes.
travel.
Really traveling in it.
And so we found that on a daily basis, using those canvas beds, especially when you're traveling and spending a night and travel the next day and every night like that, folding the beds out and then folding them up in the morning every day just added extra work, extra time to the setup and all that. And if it was raining, I hated folding that thing up, the canvas up when it was wet, knowing that we were going to have to unfold it wet at night and sleep in it again. And so,
Even though we did not get wet in there.
No, we didn't.
And we were in heavy rain. You guys have seen some videos.
Yeah.
How heavy it was. But you have to understand. It's not just a matter of folding out the bed. It is get all the bedding out from under the couch. Fold the whole bed out, put the mattress on it, and make the whole bed.
Right.
The next morning, take all the covers off, put them away, take the mattress off, fold it up and get it ready, fold the bed in, hopefully dry. Right. Sometimes not.
Now, if we were going to go to a state park for a long 4-day weekend, just set up.
Like we did in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, just set up and then leave 4 days later, or for a week, and set up and then leave, fold up a week later. It would be fine. It would be perfect.
Even if we came home and it was wet from a rain, we just open it up and let things dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, traveling and setting up in a different place every night, it just got a little wearisome.
Yeah, we're not 25 anymore.
No.
And it got to be kind of hard just to keep up with it all the time. And I got to admit, with this new one, once that bed's made, it's just always kind of there.
Yep.
And it's got a nice slide just like the one we just sold. So.
Yeah, well, we'll get in more into the detail, but we really like it a lot. We took it out a couple nights ago just for one night, just as a shakedown to test
everything.
all the systems, and we love it. We really love it. So we'll show you that in an upcoming video. So overall, it was a great experience for us.
Yeah.
We thoroughly enjoyed it.
And Leo did too.
We learned a whole lot. We learned that Leo can survive.
Yes.
He still doesn't think he can, but he can. And we plan to do many more trips like this in the future.
Yes.
And so, thanks for coming along with the whole trip. I know a lot of you enjoyed watching it. And thanks for watching this video of what we've learned. I'm sure, we have a lot of RVers who are more experienced than us. And many of you are saying, yep, that's right. And some of you are probably saying, no, that's not right. Anyway, so that's what we learned.
Yep. Living tiny at home or living tiny on the road.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of freedom in it, and I appreciate that we're in a position to be able to do that. I'm so grateful. Part of it is just because we've kept some things very simple, and it gives us the freedom to be able to do something like get that RV and go.
So thanks for watching, everybody.
Yep. We love you. Live simple.
Live free.
Alrighty.
Be blessed.
See you soon.
Bye.
Say hi, Leo. Bye, Leo.